Jason, let's start with the last fight. So let's start on the low, obviously losing out in Japan, losing your world title. Just talk to me about the emotion. I'm assuming losing doesn't get any easier.
Nah, wish we didn't have to talk about that one, mate. Yeah, it was a shocker. Obviously, a massive opportunity, and it was a bit of a dream come true to get a big fight like that in Japan. Um, I'd wanted to fight in Japan since I turned professional. I've always sort of loved the fighting culture over there, and the depth they've got, the exceptional talent that they're producing, especially at the moment. They're obviously killing it on the world stage, just particularly in the lighter weights. And then yeah, to have the opportunity to go and defend my world title at the Tokyo Dome in front of 55,000 people was a huge opportunity. On the undercard of a Inoue, obviously, and yeah, it was something I was so excited about. And yeah, it was just one of those ones that I did not perform anywhere near my best. I had a great training camp, brought out some really good sparring partners from Japan out to Australia to help me prepare, and yeah, just didn't perform on the night, didn't get it right. Took too long to get going and sort of make the adjustments, and yeah, didn't really yeah, get in my groove at all. And yeah, obviously I lost a points decision. Had a really good last round, but left it too late, and yeah, lost my world title, which yeah really hurt. Obviously, every fighter dreams of becoming a world champion, and once you got it, it's amazing. But yeah, once you lose it, it really hurt. And yeah, it was a tough sort of second half of the year. Obviously, that was in May, and then yeah, went the rest of the following 6 months without a fight, which yeah, really sucks. It's harder as a fighter, especially like myself, that's always in the gym and wanting to keep getting better and stay active and keep moving and make the most of my career. Um, yeah, that was a tough one. So just sort of sitting back and well, not sitting back. I was still working really hard and trying to create opportunities and make something happen. And went over to Japan again in September and had a bit of a training camp over there and helped a friend of mine who was my sparring partner prepare for his fight with Takuma Inoue, and he was successful and won the world title. So that was a great trip, and yeah, really felt like I got a lot out of that trip. For myself personally, in my development, and just being over there and working hard and being amongst some good fighters. And yeah, I was hopeful that that trip over there would open some doors and get me another big fight over in Japan. And yeah, it paid off. And yeah, finally I've got a fight locked in February 24. And yeah, now sights firmly set on that and working extremely hard to make sure I get it right this time.
Talk to me about that, the work you had over there in Japan with your sparring and stuff like that, because you mentioned earlier you always dreamt of fighting in Japan. You always want to go there. You love the culture, you love the boxing scene over there, etc. So obviously it wasn't the best memory when you fought out there, but then to go back and have some, successful camps and sparring. Obviously, a friend of yours won his world title fight there. So talk about the work out there and just the environment over there.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was, as I said, I didn't have a fight at the time, and I was still sort of waiting in limbo after losing in May, and it got to September and still didn't have any idea of when I'd be fighting next. And I just thought it was a good opportunity. So I spoke to my coach, and he said, "Yeah, go for it." So I reached out to Seiya Satsumi, who was fighting Takuma Inoue, and I just said, look, I'd love to return the favor if you'd like me to come over and train with you and help you prepare for your world title fight. The offer's there, and yeah, he really looked after me and brought me over there, and yeah, jumped at the opportunity, and we both trained extremely hard. I was over there for a month, so yeah, we put in a lot of hard work, got some really great rounds in together. Obviously, it helped him out, and I was over there as his sparring partner, but I was just over there trying to be a sponge and absorb as much as I could and pick up anything I could and try and improve as much as I can for myself. Obviously, something they're doing is working. They've got so many champions at the moment in the lighter weights, particularly at bantamweight with the four champions currently. So yeah, wanted to get over there and get amongst it and see what they were doing and see where I can improve. And yeah, it's just great work over there. I think they really train hard. I can only speak for the guys that I was the training with, but from what I've seen, it's it's a very common thing in Japan. They got strong work ethic like myself. So, Seiya Satsumi that I was training with every day, he trains as hard as anyone I've ever seen, and I was just alongside him, jumping in on every session and watching what he does, and obviously putting myself through the paces and getting myself ready because I'm not one that wants to just sit back when I don't have a fight and wait for an opportunity. I want to keep getting better and try and create opportunities if I can. And I think being over there for the months really helped me. And yeah, got some great sparring in. Obviously went to the fights, even the local smaller shows at the Crokin Hall and stuff like that. It was awesome just to get amongst that and see what they're doing in Japan. And yeah, they've got so much depth and so much talent over there at the moment. It's just amazing to see. Even the small hall shows with the four rounders, that these guys can really fight, and they're tested from the first fight. They don't pad their records and give them 10 little tune-ups. They throw them in the deep end, and I think that's why they're so successful at the moment. They just throw them in the deep end straight away, and obviously the cream rises to the top. And if you're a Japanese champion over there, or an undefeated Japanese fighter with 10 fights, you can seriously fight. And it was just great to go over there and get amongst it and obviously get some good sparring in and just be over there and I guess show my face and try and create some interest. As I said, I didn't want to just sit back, so I wanted to get over there and try and create an opportunity. And I was hopeful that going over there and just being in the limelight and being seen would, get me a fight offer, and it did. So it was a great trip, and I think it's going to put me in good stead for this next fight. I really feel like I've leveled up again, and I've got lot of hunger and a lot of desire to get back to the top and become champion again. And this is the first hurdle.
So that first hurdle is Tenshin. 5-0. You mentioned obviously it's almost sink or swim over there in Japan. They get thrown in the deep end early doors. I think every fight he's had, all five have been fights with winning records. His last fight was an undefeated fighter who was 9-0 at the time. For me, Tenshin, the first thing I think of is the Floyd Mayweather exhibition. Obviously, he's got a very, very deep and vast background in kickboxing. He's obviously a very, very successful kickboxer, pound for pound, one of the best in that sport. In terms of that transition over the Floyd Mayweather exhibition and his five professional fights, what do you make of Tenshin?
Yeah, I've followed him for a little while. I don't follow kickboxing, so I don't know too much about his background in kickboxing, but I know that was very successful, undefeated world champion, and has a huge following over there in Japan. I was at his last fight, that one you just touched on, where he fought the other undefeated Filipino, Acilio, and the noise when he came out and the amount of fans there wearing their Tenshin tops, like he's got a huge following, and I think they were louder when he came out to the ring than they were for Nakatani in the main event, which obviously speaks volumes for how popular he is over there. In terms of his transition to boxing, it's sort of still a hard one to have an opinion on. He hasn't really fought much of a higher level of opposition, even though his previous opponent was undefeated with 9 fights. He hasn't fought any real top boxers yet. But obviously, as I said, they throw him in the deep end, and they're obviously trying to progress and move tension fairly fast, considering he's only had 5 fights, and they're putting him in against me, a former world champion. So they obviously believe in him and believe that he's the real deal. And this is the test for him to find out. And it's up to me to upset and tear up the script and show him that he's not quite ready for this level. And I'm really confident about this fight. I feel great about it. I obviously didn't perform very well in my last fight, and a lot of people over there are probably speculating that perhaps I'm not very good with southpaws and things like that. But no, I think that last fight and going through that experience has really helped me. And since that fight, I've obviously known that there's things and areas I need to work on, and I've done a lot of work with southpaws and just kept drilling over it and trying to improve on that area and get better. And yeah, I'm feeling so much better this time round. And yeah, I really feel like I'm going to produce a great performance, and it's it's going to be a massive thing for me to take out such a high profile boxer over there, and he's also rated number two in the world with the WBA, and he's rated number three with the WBC. So beating him doesn't only create a much larger profile for me and get the attention of a lot of Japanese fans, but it'll open the door and it should give me another world title shot and hopefully put me up to into one of the mandatory positions in one of the sanctioning bodies. So that's what it's all about. Obviously, it's a big name and it'll be a massive win, but it's more about getting me back into that world title picture and making sure that I get my hands on another world title next year.
I wasn't shocked to see Tenshin take the fight. He's a fighter, and as you mentioned, of his kickboxing background, we know how good he was in that field. Were you shocked that his team accepted this fight with yourselves or offered you the fight, considering you're a world champion in just your last fight?
A little bit, yeah. Like I said, I know what it's like in Japan, and I really respect it. They don't pad the records. They as I said again, they throw them in the deep end, and they find out how good they are. And so in that sense, I wasn't. I thought that this fight might come. There's been whispers of this fight eventuating, but I wasn't sure when it would happen, and I thought he probably didn't have produced the greatest of performance in his last fight when he stepped up a bit and fought Acilio, who was undefeated. And then I thought maybe they'll hold off just a touch and give him another, I guess, progression fight where he can take a bit of a smaller step up and see how he goes there. But yeah, as I said, they obviously believe in him and they think he's a real deal. So they've obviously just roll the dice and they want to see how he goes against me. I think there's always that comparison with him and Takai, my last opponent, because they both come from that kickboxing background. So, I guess they think, hey, if Takai can beat him, then they think Tenshin can beat me. But yeah, as I said, I'm here to tear up the script and make sure that doesn't happen. And yeah, they've picked the wrong person, and I've really improved since my last fight, and yeah, can't wait to show that.
I don't want to dwell too much on the Takai fight, but obviously it wasn't your best performance. But do you think that's almost a blessing in disguise? Do you think that you would have got this fight now without that performance?
Nah, and I spoke about that, and I think everything happens for a reason, and it's not a good lesson, as in I lost my world title in the process, but like it was something that happens in this sport. I always take on the biggest challenges I can, and I want to be involved in the biggest and best fights, and I thought Takai was a tricky style for me to come up against, given that I'd only fought one southpaw in 10 years, and he was a pretty tricky style, pretty unconventional, and a really sort of long, tall, awkward southpaw, and it was a style that I thought I might have struggled with a little, but I think that's probably what played probably my downfall. It probably played in my head a bit too much, and I maybe gave it a bit too much respect for that awkward style, and as the fight went on, I started to really get a bit more into my groove and work him out a little bit. And I had a great 12th round, and he was out on his feet at the bell, and I sort of wish there was another round to go, but unfortunately, as I said, I just left it too late. But as I said, everything happens for a reason, and I've just taken the positives from that fight, even though it hurts to watch back, and it was a terrible performance, but it as you said, I probably wouldn't have got this fight without that performance. If I had, won that fight, I don't think I would have got this fight. Still would have been world champion. But you got to take the positives from every situation. And I've just, since that defeat 6 months ago, I've just been working extremely hard to make sure that that doesn't happen again. There's quite a few southpaws in my division, especially at the top of the division at the moment. So it's something that I needed to work on. And yeah, I guess that was a bit of a wake up call that there was a bit of a weak area there, and I've really, really honed in on that. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of rounds with southpaws at the moment, and yeah, I already feel so much better than my last preparation. I brought out some really good sparring partners before the Takai fight, but yeah, I was just having trouble adapting to the southpaw style, and already this time round. It's only really the start of the prep, the official prep. We're 8 weeks out today. 8 weeks out tomorrow, sorry. But yeah, I already feel so much better this prep already. I feel like I could fight tomorrow and produce a great performance and get the win. So now I've got 8 weeks just to really dig deep, do everything I can, and make sure I put on a really spectacular performance and walk away with a win and open some big doors for the rest of 2025.
Perfect. Jason, that's everything I wanted to ask you. Anything you want to add at all?
No, mate, thank you for your time as always and everyone's support. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2025. It's great to have the fight locked in for February 24 on a big card. And yeah, this is the first hurdle towards me becoming world champion again. So I appreciate everyone's support and yeah, here's to the start of a massive year.
Absolutely. Jason, top man. Thank you very much, mate.